Pax Christi, Nigerian Catholics. As we say in Nigeria, Omo Mata Choke. There are plenty of details to share with you in the last few days, happenings both online and offline. And we begin with newspaper review. We are going to start with the Guide, which is a publication of the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara in Imo State, Nigeria. And the banner headline says, Ahiara Diocese set for the Episcopal ordination of Monsignor S.O. Wobi. And the rider to the banner headline says, I am impressed by the overwhelming acceptance and preparations. Archbishop Ugwu. Also, there is news saying pastoral visit is the means through which the bishop meets the faithful. And then in another news, bankruptcy claim, Obi fires FGN. Also, the remains of Reverend Father Professor Anthony Odinaka Nwachukwu laid to rest. Here you will find, in other news, NLC, TUC suspend nationwide strike after meeting with FG. Then you have subsidy removal, FG yet to commence payment of 75,000 naira palliatives despite receiving $299 million World Bank loan. You find that in page 4. Then in another news, you have Pope, peace is built with listening, not weapons. Page 6. So as you can clearly see, the Guide newspaper is fully packed and fully loaded with a lot of news, a lot of gist, a lot of gbasgbos, if you like. So the one that definitely will catch your attention is the banner headline that says Ahiara Diocese set for the Episcopal ordination of Monsignor S.O. Wobi. And then the Archbishop saying that he is impressed by the overwhelming acceptance and preparations. Clearly, he would definitely be impressed. A lot of people received the news of the appointment of Monsignor S.O. Wobi with great joy, with anticipation. There was this sense of acceptance that yes, the people of Ahiara Diocese have accepted finally a bishop for their diocese. And he is not actually a bishop in the sense of him being the local ordinary of the diocese. He is appointed auxiliary bishop to the apostolic administrator of Ahiara Diocese, which simply means that Ahiara Diocese doesn't have a bishop yet. They have for now what the church calls an apostolic administrator, and so the Holy Father appointed Monsignor Simon to become an auxiliary bishop to support the work of the apostolic administrator. Okay, now you have clearly, any Catholic knows the whole drama and gbasgbos that happened when the now Cardinal Peter Opaleke was appointed Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara. The argument was he was not, or he is not, a son of the soil. Okay, so if you ask personally what we would think about this, you simply be saying, oh, they probably have accepted Monsignor Simeon Wobi because he is actually a son of the soil. He is from Ahiara Diocese. Okay, that is one way to look at it. The reason why he's accepted is possibly because, yes, he's the son of the soil. It would look like the church has bent backwards, in accepting the demands of the people of Ahiara Diocese by granting them one of their own sons to become a bishop. Whether he is an auxiliary bishop or not is not really that important, Abi. The important thing is that he is a bishop. And e be like say I go end up becoming the bishop of Ahiara Diocese. Yes, because this is not the first time auxiliary bishops have ended up becoming bishops of their dioceses. Yes, it has happened in many places. It has happened in Oka. It has happened in a couple of dioceses in the southeast, where an auxiliary bishop becomes eventually the bishop of the diocese where he was originally appointed, auxiliary bishop to serve in. So, fingers crossed, as we will say in English language, let us see what happens. But don't be surprised. Do not be surprised when Monsignor Simeon Wobi, who is a clerician, ends up becoming the bishop of Ahiara Diocese, because it's very possible. It is very possible. It has happened before, and it can happen again. This is a clear case of, hey, there's a problem here. Let's find a compromise. Let's find something to, let's find a common ground, because this looks like the church finding a common ground. Okay, it looks like the church finding a common ground. Like, the people say, we want a son of the soil to be a bishop. The church is saying, we don't believe in that, because obviously we are supposed to be one. The baptismal water is supposed to be thicker than blood as far as the church is concerned. But the church is also human. And in this case, in the Ahiara Diocese case, some people have erred. They don't, that belief system or that thinking of baptism or the baptismal water being thicker than blood isn't really there yet. The people haven't gotten to that point of revelation yet. So the church has to deal with that. So we need to find a common ground. Let's pick a son of the soil, but also let's not make him a bishop just yet. Let him be an auxiliary bishop for the meantime, and let's see how it goes. If the people are still willing, maybe not, something can happen. And he could end up becoming a full-fledged bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara. Yes? So, let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed. If you live around the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara, you should get a copy of this newspaper, because it is clearly loaded with a lot of stuff. We simply just picked the banner headline. So get a copy for yourself and feast on the mouth-watering details that you can find in the newspaper from the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara. Next, we move on to the Catholic Diocese of Lagos. And we have here the Catholic Herald. The banner headline says, "Be loving to priests in their old age. Father Umo canvasses retired priests to live in parish communities of their choice." Also, you have CEPACS at 50 Assembly. Olagunju calls for registration online. And the rider says, Nigeria to host Vatican's prefect of the Dicastery of Social Communication, bishops from all over Africa. Then we have this news, the looming nationwide strike. Also we have NIMCON recommends canonization of victims of insurgency. That's an interesting one. I wonder why they're thinking that way. Anyway, Vatican Hospital offers to treat critically ill baby denied life support in Britain. Wow, that's something. Also, you have people with bottled up anger risk dementia, heart disease. You want to find out more about that? People with bottled up anger risk dementia, heart disease. Oh, that's serious. Okay, so if you have bottled up anger, you are risking dementia. If you don't know what dementia is, please go Google it up. It is not a funny disease. Okay, so that's something for you. If you have bottled up anger, okay. So also you have top 10 jobs in AI and the right artificial intelligence skills you need to stand out. Okay, so this newspaper is clearly loaded. So if you live around the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos, and of course if you're in the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos, you should definitely pick a copy of the Catholic Herald. Okay, it is a weekly publication of the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos. Okay, so that is that for newspaper review. If you would like us to review other newspapers, you can feel free to reach out to us and we'll definitely do that. Okay, so in other news, you know Father Kelvin Ugwu. As far as we are concerned, he's the king of social media basbos. And we're not going to go into so much details about this particular post. This particular post he made is actually a throwback post. Okay, he made this post a long time ago, not too long actually, and he titled it Religion, a Critical Look. And this is a part 6 of this series that he started. And we are bringing it back because it has a lot to say about what is going on in the church generally right now. This whole craze about miracles. A lot of people are focusing on miracles now. And it's almost becoming a very, very terrible phenomenon where people are focusing on miracles and forgetting their common sense. Okay? So, Father Kelvin in this post is basically asking for balance. Because you cannot focus so much on reason and forget faith. And you cannot so much focus on faith and forget reason. In his words, this is what he has to say. With faith alone and total neglect of reason, people become fanatics. With reason alone and with total neglect of faith, people become agnostics. And by the way, if you don't know what agnostics mean, it basically means people who don't believe in God. Okay? The key point, Father Kelvin continues, is balance. It is very dangerous. It is a very dangerous thing if the pastor or priest in your church sees every damn thing under the lens of faith alone. This is why church members have eaten grasses in the past, all in the name of faith. Some have been sprayed with insecticides in the name of deliverance. Some pregnant women have died or are with complications because instead of going to hospital for antenatal care, they are going to church where the pastor will not only use Goya oil to rub and caress their protruded stomachs, but will order them to drink the content of the entire bottle so as to make the baby to slipperily come out. You will do yourself a favor the moment you start understanding that the reason God gave you sense is so that you won't be senseless. End of quote. No be me talk am. Na Father Kevin talk am. Okay? So, we're not going to mention names here, obviously. But you and I both know the people or the sets of people that come to mind when this whole craze about miracles is mentioned. Father Kelvin is simply saying, don't completely throw away the possibility of a miracle happening. But at the same time, don't throw away your common sense. Basically, that's all he's saying. Okay? There were cases where people would see something, a house on fire, and they were carrying Bibles and praying that the fire should quench. Really? Seriously? Who does that? You are praying for fire to quench when God has given you common sense to fetch water and quench the fire. Okay? So, that's basically the point Father Kelvin Ugwu was making in this post. And we're bringing it back so that we can refresh our memory. Okay? That you are a Christian means you are intelligent and you are wise. So there is the place for faith, as Father Kevin Ugwu says. And there is also the place for reason. You need balance. Where faith is necessary, apply faith and it will work. Where faith is not needed, where reason, common sense, your HQ is needed, please apply it. Okay? So that's the lesson from this throwback post Father Kevin Ugwu made. Okay? And we are encouraging Catholics everywhere to please put a balance to our walk with God. The God who gave us our senses definitely did not make a mistake. Okay? So, our minds, our senses are there so that we can utilize them. Let's utilize them. Alright? There is the place for faith and there is the place for reason. And if we put the balance, if we use faith where faith is supposed to be used, and we use reason where reason is supposed to be used, our lives will be fantastic. Okay? Alright. Now, this is on a very, very sad note. News filtered in from Kwara State, from this particular Benedictine community, of 3 monks who were kidnapped. 1 was later killed, and 2 were released with varying degrees of injuries. Now, on Tuesday, the 17th of October 2023, at about 1 a.m., armed Fulani bandits stormed the Annunciation Benedictine Monastery located in Ugwu, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. They broke through the iron doors of the novitiate block where about 12 of the brothers, including novices and postulants, were sleeping. These bandits kidnapped 3 novices of the monastery. Their names are Brother Godwin Eze, OSB, Brother Anthony Eze, OSB, and Brother Peter Olarewaju, OSB. Now, while Brother Anthony Eze and Brother Peter Olarewaju were set free on October the 21st, that's like almost 2-3 days after they were kidnapped, Brother Godwin Eze, aged 31, was shot dead and his body thrown into a nearby river a day after he was kidnapped. The released brothers are in an undisclosed hospital being treated for various degrees of injuries. Brother Godwin Mary Onyeka Eze OSB was born Monday, November 9, 1992, and hails from Ugwu State, Nigeria. Those who knew Brother Godwin described him as a very prayerful, jovial, and very easygoing young man. His funeral mass shall be celebrated at St. Joseph Catholic Cathedral, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, on Wednesday, November the 22nd, 2023 at 10 a.m. Honestly, this is a sad story. You would think that, what do these bandits want? Okay, going into a monastery to kidnap monks. Sometimes when you think you have heard the worst of it, you hear another one that will completely blow your mind. And this is one of those scenarios. This is sad, this is disappointing. Of course, we are not going to go into the whole talk of government do this, government do that. We have been singing this song. It has become embarrassingly annoying that we keep on saying the same thing over and over again, and the people who are elected into power are clearly not doing anything about it. We are like a people who are left to our own devices. The day you are safe, you praise the Lord. The day you are not safe, wow, God have mercy. This is really sad, and our hearts are with the families of these monks who were traumatized in this way, and particularly our hearts are with the family of Brother Godwin Mary Onyeka Eze OSB, who very sadly lost his life as a result of all of this. We pray that God grants his soul eternal rest. So this is a summary of events that have taken place in the Nigerian Catholic space, both online and offline. If you have any comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. We'll leave you with just a small clip of a video. Benediction and Vespers celebrated in the Augustinian community in the north central part of the country. Please feel free to watch the full video. It will be linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.